that we are eternal, we are forever. What if Wednesday? Chase and Shep. You
Chase
know,
Shep, baby.
it's how we start things off. Just we're doing words of affirmations over here. You know what I'm saying? I think that's how you say that word correctly. Uh,
Affirmation, I believe.
affirmations. I am fucking energy. Okay. In case you forgot, I am energy.
What's up, boys and girls?
Sup?
Minute. Been a couple weeks, I think.
Did we not? Yeah, we didn't go in last week. We were
Uh,
filming. That's right.
We were filming last week, and we did drop our little teaser. A little reminder to everybody that the official trailer for Chase and Shep's Summer Camp of Horrors drops this Friday the 13th. So
Spooky.
stay tuned for that.
How spooky.
I'm excited for everybody to see it.
I'm really excited for everybody to see it too. We've been getting really good feedback from everybody that has seen it so far. So
this is true.
I'm hoping this is a trend that continues on and on.
Yeah.
Because it's been fun and we're about to that halfway point with it.
Yeah, we're more or less wrapped on the first half of the show. We've wrapped on the first 4 episodes. We've definitely wrapped on episode 2 and episode 4. We have a few more things to grab for episode 1 and episode 3, and we're looking at the back half now. But it's coming, and you'll see your first sneaky peek of it this Friday when the trailer drops, and we'll have a kind of light release date with that trailer as well. So that's something to look forward to. It begs the question: what if we had been more organized? Who knows? Could have been.
I think for tonight's show, personally, I think we should talk about like the offshoot things that we kind of breeze over anyway before we get into these newer things, because I feel like we got a lot to say about the newer stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been keeping up with like the Rick and Mortys and the Daves.
I'm behind on Rick and Morty. I'm behind on Dave by a few weeks. Has that wrapped up? It may have wrapped up.
I believe Dave is tonight.
I think
final episode's tonight. I'll give light. No spoilers. I'll do spoiler free. Okay. We had a viewer, but we lost them. I was hoping they'd stick around. It's like I'm not gonna spoil you. I did like this past week. The week beforehand, we already knew with Rick and Morty. I did at least where they were going with the whole Megatron little thing, which was dope. This week's episode was a lot different. I do feel like this whole season hasn't really centered around Rick as much as normal. So this episode kind of did. It was pretty cool. They brought back in the storyline of Bird Person.
Oh,
so
cool.
That was something that I enjoyed seeing them kind of progressing along with, from the past season and different, like, hey, we're going to kind of tie this one up. You get some new revelations. Rick's basically just trying to bring him back to life and his memory's running off. So he's like, well, I got to go in his memories of me and him and save him. So like, that's the whole basis of that episode, which is pretty dope. It's some nice little emotional parts in it.
Yeah, that's when I'm ready for it to wrap up, so I can finally just watch all of it. What I probably should have done, I guess I could still do this, was usually like on like Vudu or like other like on-demand stuff, you can just buy the season of a show, and you'll just get every episode.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
like $20. I probably should have just done that at the beginning of all this, and then I could have been all caught up. But I was so sick of watching. I mean, the episodes of this season I have seen, I watched in like shitty, like in a square within a square on YouTube that like cuts back and forth and shit. Like it's not a good way to watch anything.
Right.
I know some people don't care, but for me, I was like, no, I can't do this. Like I have to clock out on that one.
Yeah, and then Dave had a pretty good episode again too, where it was who's the guy he goes to? Very famous producer to keep working on Penis. the dude that did like 99 Problems by Jay-Z. I'm gonna feel like an idiot now that I can't think of his name. Rick something. I'd like to say. Um,
Okay.
but anyway, so like he's going to this guy's place.
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin. There you go. He's going to Rick Rubin, try to get some shit going for his album, and so the whole episode kind of centers around that, and they want him to go into like a sensory deprivation tank before he can meet Rick, and shit like that. And he's like, this is the whole episode. He keeps trying to he thinks he sees Rick Rubin, but then it's a guy. He's like, nah, I'm somebody else, and he's like, oh, okay, and goes on this whole spiritual journey within himself. The episode I believe is called Enlightenment. Yeah. So it makes sense. Has to figure out his center and his balance, and it comes pretty good at the end. I think Dave has always been one of those. This season especially, it's made me do a lot of introspecting on myself. I find a lot of myself in Dave.
Yeah.
So the issues that he's dealing with in his show, I'm sitting here like dealing with this in life too, buddy. So that's kind of cool to see another perspective on things, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm like a couple weeks behind on that, I believe. If tonight's the finale, I haven't seen episode 8 or 9, because 8 was the one that you're like, oh shit, dude, like this one, you got to see this one. I didn't see that one. I didn't see last week's, so I'll probably catch up on everything tomorrow with that. Same with Rick and Morty. When it's over, I'll just binge all of it. I feel like most of the shows we started like offshoot wise, like I've either just fallen out of or just haven't had the time to catch up. Because those two shows I have been enjoying. One show I started that I couldn't. I might finish it. I don't know. It's one of those things where I feel like if I had a kid, I probably would have watched all of it by now. But I was trying to watch that Monsters at Work, the Monsters Incorporated show on Disney Plus. It's okay. I wasn't a fan of Monsters University when it came out, but Monsters Incorporated is like fucking classic. It's fantastic.
It really is though.
And I wasn't a fan of Monsters University because they jumped back and it was a prequel, and I really didn't care. But this is like a direct sequel. Like literally moments after the first movie ends is when the show picks up. But I don't know. Like it hardly focused on Mike and Sully, and that's where I'm like, I could give a shit about this show.
Right.
But I mean, it's fine. Like it's decent. What else? I will tell you the show I have been watching though every week, and every week I have the same reaction. Every week I'm like, why the fuck am I still watching this show? And that's Gossip Girl on HBO Max. Not the OG Blake Lively Gossip Girl.
The new one.
The new one on HBO Max. And friends of mine who have watched the OG one, they're like, "Oh, you should go back and watch that one." I'm like, I don't think there's a chance in hell I will. I don't think I could. Like after seeing this R-rated millennial version of Gossip Girl, that's just so fucking ridiculous, man. Like every week I'm like, this is so over the top dramatic that I didn't have to suspend my disbelief anywhere near as much watching The Suicide Squad as I do every week watching Gossip Girl. At one point, some chick is like, I'm only 14. I'm like, bullshit. Shut the fuck up. 14 years old.
Looking mid-20s.
Some of the things the teachers do and some of the conversations the teachers have with some of these kids, I'm like, y'all would not only be fired, your asses would be in jail. You would straight up be in prison for most of the shit you're doing. It's just such a ridiculous show, and I don't know. I think that's why I enjoy watching it. It is a guilty pleasure through and through. I mean,
I vibe with that.
Yeah.
The only show I will start watching but haven't caught yet was the season premiere of Stargirl was last night.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any of Stargirl.
I got sucked into season 2, so I was bored a year ago, I believe. When I watched it, I believe it was the week of Halloween when I was on vacation, and I really had nothing. I was like, man, I want to watch some new shit on TV. Fuck it. And Stargirl happened to be one that I started watching, and I'm like, Stargirl, and then it's like, you can see it's aimed at teenagers and stuff, and I was like, and then it was like, but they started introducing this person's lineage to the Wildcat and this and that, and I was like, okay, I'll say where it's going. And I seen in this season they're gonna have a Green Lantern show up, so it's like,
oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I see. They play more on the Justice Society of America. I think that's where they all come from. Is like they're the lineage of the people from the Justice Society of America.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
I know
different.
coming up we're gonna have like a lot of superhero shows just be getting into, like a lot, a lot. Um, so I'm already gearing up. I'll probably start tonight, catching up on some of those shows so I can be ready for season threes. I need to finish Harley Quinn. I need to finish Doom Patrol. I need to finish Titans. All the season twos. I watched all the season ones. I need to watch all the season twos on that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think The Boys is right around the corner as well. Uh, season three of that as well. So we got a bunch of season three superheroes coming up.
I'm gonna look
Uh,
that up right now because I love the boys. So
yeah, I do know. I do know season three of The Boys is right around the corner. Um, and I have to say before we get into the Suicide Squad, I feel like this has been a good year for DC. I definitely feel like they needed a win. They definitely needed a W.
it
Uh,
says they haven't released like an actual release date yet.
Yeah, last
Wait,
I heard, it was at least like they had like 2021 on there, but they didn't
no,
have.
yeah, they had something from 5 hours ago.
Oh, exclusive, breaking.
Exclusive, Chase and Shep exclusive. They got a nice little picture here of all of them with a season 3 behind them.
Okay, I
So
think I've
that,
actually seen that floating around.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it just could have been somebody.
hoping, wishing,
Yeah,
waiting, like the rest of us. Yeah,
pretty much.
I am excited for all these DC shows. I think DC really has a firm grasp on their television shows. I don't get into the CW ones. I have a hard time getting into CW shows in general. But I really enjoyed that first season of Titans. I really enjoyed Doom Patrol. I own the first season of Doom Patrol, and I told you I saw somebody bring up the Doom Patrol in talking about the Suicide Squad, and they were like, "Yeah, this Suicide Squad felt a lot like Doom Patrol." I was like, "Could you imagine like if there was a crossover?" And I told you, I was like, "Yeah, too bad they're not in the same universe." And I'm like, "Oh wait, they are DC."
They are.
So that would actually be very rad if they ever do another Suicide Squad and they want to incorporate the Doom Patrol. I would be quite all right with that. That'd be pretty dope. Um,
I wouldn't be mad.
yeah. Other than that, I know there's another show I'm watching on HBO right now called The White Lotus, which apparently is a big hit with other people. For me, it's been a slog. I've really been like, at this point, I'm halfway through it, so I just feel obligated to finish it to see what the fuck like people see in this. And it just got renewed for season two, so I'm like, I guess I'm just missing something here because the whole show just was weird. But that's something I've noticed lately, though. Is for the longest time when I've reviewed stuff, I'm just like, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I liked it, I love it. Like there's never like the amount of shows and movies I did not like genuinely did not care to like finish or watch, was very low. But now it's kind of flipped a little bit, and I think the reason for that is because there's so much content these days, like as opposed to how it used to be. It used to be a little more special, and now there's just shit everywhere. And I think
All
because
over the
there's
place.
shit everywhere, they don't mind the quality being kind of poor sometimes. So not everything is the best. Um,
And
so
especially like, there's just so much, like you said, so much coming out. Probably much more like, and we haven't even gotten to like the like, come on, we still got like the Child's Play TV shows about to come out. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like that's something we're gonna be watching.
definitely, definitely,
Uh, who knows? October's filled with movies. September, we got Shang-Chi about half a month from now.
yeah.
So many fucking things coming out at us left and right that it's insane.
So which one should we do first, DC or Marvel? Suicide Squad or What If?
I guess we was talking Suicide Squad already, so let's just keep the ball rolling with them.
Well, let's do it. We're gonna get into some spoilers here for the Suicide Squad. Um, I don't know about you. I've seen it twice now. I've
I
seen.
saw it once. I just watched it the one.
I watched it. I watched it the second time because the first time Corey and I watched it, I told you we got stoned at the beginning of it, and within a few moments into the movie, I just looked at him and I said, I don't know if this was a good idea. I don't know if it's a good thing I'm stoned for this movie or if I'm way too high for the experience that's about to take place here. So I had to watch this movie a second time sober to like really like take in like all of the crazy shit. Um, I like it. My controversial opinion is I like Birds of Prey more. I know I'm in the minority there, but it was a solid movie, man. It is James Gunn's vision through and through, and that is awesome. I do love that element of it. Here's where the spoilers start, kids. That second time I watched it, I timed it. I was curious. I timed it. Weasel dies 7 minutes into the movie. The first death is 7 minutes in. The next one is 9, and by 12, that whole first team is dead. The whole first team is dead. And I don't know, man. That's like one of those double-edged sword sort of deals for me because, like, on the one hand, as a storyteller, I think it was brilliant. I think it was a brilliant way to start that movie. I think it really set the stakes for that movie. I think because the movie started with everybody dying off like that, including Captain Boomerang, which was really the big one where you're like, oh shit, they're really not afraid to just get rid of whoever. It set the precedent. Like the whole rest of the movie up until the credits started rolling, I did not think we were out of the weeds until the fucking credits started rolling. I was like,
Right.
literally anybody could die in this movie, and we did. We had a few more deaths before the movie wrapped up. But at the same time, I think a lot of my disappointment with this movie, where like I really like it got knocked down a notch for me, was the opening scene. Like, was those characters dying? Because so much of the marketing had these characters in it. I was really looking forward to seeing these characters, and it felt different than Deadpool 2. Like Deadpool 2, it was funny, and I didn't mind. I wasn't really like, oh my god, I can't wait to see fucking. I can't even tell you who they were. The guy who spits up acid, the invisible guy. Like I couldn't give you a single name of that crew, so I didn't give a shit. But with this, you got Pete Davidson, you got this weird fucking weasel, like Nathan Fillion as TDK and stuff. Like you got all these fantastic actors, and they all look so cool, and the marketing was so heavy with them that I'm like, I can't wait to see these guys in action. I can't wait to see what these guys do. And then they fucking died in fucking 10 minutes. And I'm like, well, that's fucking disappointing. I will say I'm glad they brought Weasel back, though, at the end there, because I would love to see somebody else on YouTube was saying, I'd love to see at least like a Weasel short film at the very minimum. Like, just to see him kill somebody, just to see like what his skill set is, I guess.
Right. No, I don't. I vibe with that. Like, I would say that was like, yeah, I think that opening scene set off a good precedent for the movie, but I would have rather them stretch it out and just kill all those people randomly throughout the time. So after like, the third person that dies within 25 minutes, you're like, dang, okay. Like they really are just going to be starting picking people off at random points during this whole fucking time. That would have been to me the only
Actually,
difference.
I think that's a better way to put it. I think that's a better way to explain my disappointment. Because I think I would have been more okay with all of those people dying if it was more stretched out.
Yeah.
The fact that it all happens within the span of like maybe 4 to 5 minutes and they're all just taken off the board like immediately, I was like, oh, okay. And now we're just focusing on these like 6 people, which was fine. Like the team 2, like the Suicide Squad that the film focuses on is great as well. And we still have our deaths that like go down before the end of the movie. But I feel like if they had just continuously were like picking people off throughout the movie, I'd really just be on my toes.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially to like show, like have it be a lot of these B characters killed that you're like, okay, and then kill Captain Boomerang and you're like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then keep killing more B characters. So you're like, all right. And then you kill another major character to where you're like, fuck, okay, damn. I'm afraid to like this person because I feel like if I like them, they're gonna die.
Right. Which I had two of those. Two deaths I was actually very upset about. One was Rick Flag. I was bummed as hell when Rick Flag. That was one I felt for sure. That was one I was like, damn, I can't believe it. But he went out like a champ. I will say that. I loved his last words. Just the peacemaker. What a joke. Like, what? It's just like, that's just some hard shit right there. I really enjoyed that. But it's sad to see Flag go. And then, of course, the other one is Polka Dot Man. I really thought Polka Dot Man was going to make it, dude. And when he died, I was like, God damn it. Like, that one was pretty disappointing. But, you know, Polka Dot Man is one of those characters that, like, I hope we see him pop up in something else. Like, I'd love to see Polka Dot Man, like, something, you know, like, because he was a very interesting character.
Have to be a prequel.
Yeah. And of course, I loved John Cena in this, and I've heard a lot of people be like, "Oh, wow, John Cena can actually act," and I've always liked John Cena as an actor. Like, I think he's fantastic. I've heard bad things about his performance in Fast and Furious 9, but I didn't see Fast and Furious 9 because it seemed really fucking stupid. But like Blockers is one of my all-time favorite comedies, and like John Cena's fantastic in that movie. He is so fucking funny in that movie. But I loved him in this, and my personal favorite scene that I know is kind of controversial for some people. Some people didn't like it. Is their little dick measuring contest between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, where they're having the killing contest. It's hysterical, dude. It's so funny, and like I get like there's those bleeding hearts out there that's like, oh my god, they just killed all these innocent people, and it's like it was played as a joke. I'm like, duh, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. When I hear people's complaints about this movie, it's like they're not actually superheroes, guys. Like, they're bad guys. Did anybody see the beginning of this fucking movie? Like, they literally all were in prison. Like, they are guys. They are villains. Like, you know, same with Harley Quinn. It's like, I feel like people forget she's a fucking psychopath. Like, she's a maniac. But people like to put her up on this, like, pedestal sometimes. And I don't know. But I dug that scene a lot. I thought that was, like, one of the best scenes in the whole.
Yeah, well, yeah. Easy. It's a good movie all around. You got HBO Max. Why are you sleeping on it?
Yeah, I'm excited to go catch it in the IMAX. I was gonna go today, and then I looked, and it's still playing until Sunday in the IMAX. So I'm like, I got time. TikTok, I got time. I got time. I was told I was watching the John Campea show on YouTube earlier, and he said to hit the old double feature with Free Guy and the Suicide Squad. And both of those are playing in the IMAX this weekend. So I might John Campea. I just might. Like, that movie's been getting a lot of really good reviews too. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's Ryan Reynolds, of course. He's a good guy.
We know him personally.
I just called him right before we went on live, so he's doing good.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, in a year where Marvel is like just pissing content, you know, and you know, a lot of it's been pretty good for the most part. And I think the best is yet to come from Marvel this year. I think Shang-Chi and Eternals and Spider-Man will all be pretty solid, and we still got 2 more shows after What If this year. We got Hawkeye and Miss Marvel still coming.
They said I bet Miss Marvel will be delayed.
Not the last they said nope, it is for sure coming out 2021. They just said that like a week ago. So
I just read it like within a day or two.
Yeah,
that they were saying
there's always that possibility, but
they just with the schedule, because they said Hawkeye is coming in November. That there ain't no way to get it started unless they want to run it at the same time as running the Star Wars show, which they probably won't do.
Which, like, I don't get that, you know. I understand that if it was like theatrical, you know what I mean. Like if it was pitched, like if you were pitting a Star Wars movie against a Marvel movie in theaters, like that's dumb. You know, that's your own competition. Like Disney's walking away the victor regardless, but people are going to have to choose. Like, oh fuck, what do I want to pay money to see? Do I want to go see this Marvel movie or do I want to go see this Star Wars movie? You don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like you can wake up on Friday morning and spend the next like 2 hours watching your two shows back to back. You know, like that's pretty rad as far as like being a nerd goes of all that kind of shit. I don't think people would be opposed to that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, especially as far as like subscriber count goes. I bet Disney Plus will start seeing a real uptick if they haven't already, like from everything that's been going down. Because right now, as they do it, it's just like they really just got the one thing going on at a time. Because like I feel like Disney Plus, like for me, just like what I said earlier about the monsters at work. If I had a kid, I feel like I would probably be on Disney Plus more often. But as it currently stands, I only am on Disney Plus like weekly to watch the Marvel shit, and that's about it, or the Star Wars shit when it comes out. And so, like, I feel like adult audiences don't have enough to stick around for on Disney Plus. Like, you know, you could hop on a Netflix or an HBO Max and be there for fucking days, you know, just binging the shit out of stuff. And you don't have that with Disney Plus yet, but I can see that being the case. I think. But all that being said, you know, usually Marvel takes the top spot, and they still have time to do so this year. But my two most watched movies of the year so far are DC. I mean, I watched Justice League 3 times in a week. I'm about to watch The Suicide Squad 3 times in a week. It was making me want to go watch Justice League a fourth time, making it my most watched movie of the year. I feel like they've been on a hot streak this year, and I'm actually very happy for them because as much as I'm a Marvel guy, I love to see DC succeed. I think they have it within them. I think they're starting to figure it out slowly but surely. So,
Oh yeah, I think they got hitters with the Batman and Flash coming out still. Shazam 2, Aquaman 2. I think they're sitting good at the
yeah,
moment. I think they've finally figured out how to go about doing it their way.
yeah,
Step, be aside from Marvel, not try to do the same shit Marvel's doing. Although they do kind of try to bounce off each other. So
right. Yeah, I mean, you got No Way Home and The Flash, which are pretty much gearing up to be like the same movie, you know, in a sense. They're both your multiverse movies and shit like that. So there's still that back and forth there, just a little bit.
oh yeah,
And actually, you know, what's funny about the Suicide Squad is, you know, obviously James Gunn came over from Marvel and he's still doing Guardians 3 and all that shit. And he's said, I'm going to keep doing DC stuff, which can you blame the guy? They literally just let him do whatever the fuck he wanted. So it's like, as a filmmaker, I would probably also go chill at the studio that's like, whatever, here's money, do whatever you want, bro. But so many actors, just in the Suicide Squad alone, were also brought over from Marvel. You know, Idris Elba is, you know, in the Thors. But then you got everybody that James Gunn just works with in general who was in the Guardians movies who came over with him to Suicide Squad. Taika Waititi showing up as Ratcatcher. Even though it was very brief, he had some really big scenes. He's got that great scene at the end where he's talking to the Ratcatcher 2 about, you know, why rats, Daddy. And, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful scene. But yeah, so to transition from DC being pretty rad, let's get into what if. What if? Now, what if this had been worth staying up to watch last night?
yeah. You weren't a fan, you said.
I was very underwhelmed. Very underwhelmed. My biggest like number one thing, like right off the bat, was this should have been an hour long, or at least 45 minutes to an hour. Not this fucking whatever it was. It moved by at such a breakneck speed that there's no point that I could sink my teeth into it, you know? And for the most part, all they did was take Captain America the First Avenger and condense it into 28 minutes, tweak some things, and otherwise, there you go. And I feel like their mindset was like, oh, well, nobody's going to be interested in rewatching all this shit. I would have been perfectly fine rewatching that shit. You know, I would have been fine. Like, give me some time to like say. I don't know. In a way, it just feels like, you know how like Marvel Legends is their way of like catching you up on the past. I feel like What If is now like, here's our shortcut to setting things up for the future. Like, we didn't want to spend the money on a live action for a character that people might not want to come out and see. Uh, and like, there was one sequence in this episode that I was like, that would have been dope as fuck live action. Would have been expensive for Marvel, but like when Steve's in the Hydra Stomper suit, and her and or him and Peggy are fighting, and they're in the air and shit, and she's going from plane to plane and like hopping on his back, and it's all like that one continuous take. That was fucking dope. And I was like, in live action, that would have been amazing. Like to see that in a theater, like that would have been so cool. But it just moves so fast, man. And I'm just like, I didn't care. It just felt like, like literally, even the way they talk is so goddamn fast that they're just moving on to the next scene, on to the next scene, on to the next scene, on to the next scene. And then it was just over. And like literally the only big difference outside of, you know, the original first Avenger was like how it ended, you know, with like the fucking little tentacle monster from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 coming out of the portal, and her going into the portal and coming back out the other end 70 years later. Like, I don't know. I hope the show gets better. I really do.
I mean,
I hope the whole show is not like this.
I thought it was all right. I mean, it was pretty much what I expected it to be. Like, I don't know. I didn't think it went too fast. Like, I wouldn't. I don't know. Animation wise, an hour long is a long time for an animation.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's we got spoiled with Invincible. Is my problem. maybe I'm
Yeah,
maybe I'm still missing Invincible, and there's a hole in my heart where an Invincible shaped hole.
but I mean, like, I thought this was all right. It just basically because it's not like I could see it being like, oh, that was kind of pointless and dumb if that was it. You know what I'm saying? If it was like a true anthology of here's Captain Britain, that's it, it's done, and we're gonna go on to the next character next week and a different story that we, you know. But the fact that these all tie back in, she's
Right.
gonna be part of the, you know, Avengers of the multiverse or whatever. I thought it was dope. I thought it was all right. The only complaint I had was how the voice acting sounded every now and then. It was kind of wonky, but other than that, I thought the animation was pretty dope.
It took a little getting used to, but I got used to it. Um, that was another thing I thought was weird. Is like sometimes the animation would look like the actor, and sometimes it's like they didn't give a shit, and it just didn't look anything like the actor who was playing the part. And that I didn't really understand, like why they would make that decision. And they've
Well, you
already
never know. With the way that things have been the last year in the world, though, that could have been two people working on two separate scenes from different locations that one was just better than the other. And it's like, had they been in the same studio, they could have done the face, they could have done the body on everybody, and they would have done twice the work. You know what I mean?
and to be clear, because I know I'm not alone on my opinion, because you know today, as I do on Wednesdays, I scour the internet. I watch my people and see what they have to say about the shows themselves, and I'm not in the minority on that one. Everybody else seems to feel the same way, but same as all those other people, I didn't hate it. Like I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. But like what you just said, if it was just like a standalone thing and there was no continuity here, I would not have given a fuck about this. And I'm not. I can't judge this entire show off of this episode either. I like to think that each one's just going to get better and better. And because we've already heard that this is canon, and they're going to set up characters here to bring into the live action. There's already talk of Captain Carter being in Multiverse of Madness in live action. Dope, cool. That's where I can appreciate this episode, and that's what I said earlier. Is like it feels like, from a studio standpoint, why would you spend all that money on a live action movie for a character that people are like, well, we've seen this before, you know, and you just did it a little different. But you still want to introduce a character, and this feels like a shortcut to do that, which
Yeah.
isn't necessarily a bad thing. But for me, this was the weakest entry of Marvel for me. Just this episode in particular. I won't say that about the show. I'm gonna wait and see how the rest of the show.
Marvel has always slacked when it came to animation, so that I guess that's the thing where it's been me growing up my whole life. I've just expected that. So like I didn't expect to be like mind blown when I sat down to watch this. Like I literally expected to watch like an episode of Spider-Man type shit, and that's kind of to me how that played out. Just like the old school X-Men, Spider-Man's.
Yeah, I usually try to watch it, watch the Marvel episodes a second time before we do our shows, and I didn't get around to that today. So who knows? Like upon second viewing, I might feel different because sometimes that happens too when you that happened with like Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, like where there were those episodes that I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning to watch the episode and just didn't hit for me because I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning, like waiting for this fucking thing, and it just was like, oh, I can't believe I just stayed up for this. And so I think now I'll probably just watch it in the morning, unless I'm up like I was last night, I guess. But yeah, it's just okay so far for me. But
We'll see how it plays
what
out.
you're saying though about it's definitely a level of that because I wasn't going into this thinking I was going to be like mind blown by any means. But I guess like with Marvel, this is the start of them venturing into. They said they're going to start their own like animation studio. This is like their first venture into that, and it's Marvel. You just hold them to a higher standard, and this one was just okay. And some people have made the point that like they did this episode as like a 1940s like serial, like just a very quick like adventurous like boom bap boom, like kind of story, which is fine. It just wasn't my bag. It was my bag.
We'll see what next week brings.
I am excited for next week because this show is Chadwick Boseman's last thing ever. And I actually read an article not too long ago where he actually plays. I think they said he's in 4 different episodes or something like that. Like he plays 4 different versions of T'Challa in this show. So I'm excited for that, and I'm super excited about the zombie episode. I think that's going to be rad. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
For sure, man. I mean, it might be good, it might not. We'll see.
And with the other MCU Disney Plus shows, it's usually like those last few episodes when you start peppering in the end credit scenes. And to think about it, these might have some really cool end credit scenes. Like thinking ahead to the end of the show, there might be some dope shit in store, where it's like Spider-Man No Way Home trailer tacked onto the end of What If. Like you just never know. You never know what they're gonna do. So it'll be cool. I'm sure we might see a little multiverse of madness tease or some shit like that.
Maybe.
But we'll see.
We'll see. We'll be here for it.
Until next week.
Yeah, until next week. That's all. That's about all I got.
Yeah.
Smooches and deuces.
So I had to finish off the old tea there. All right.
You're good.
Yeah. Peace, everybody. We'll catch you next week for another What If Wednesday. But what if we didn't? Ponder that.
What if we don't make it?